Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Friday, July 11th, 2025. U.S. stock market has been open for about 30 minutes and not a fantastic start to the day. In fact, the indexes are looking a little bit on the ugly side right now. I have a little bit of optimism, and I hope it's not misplaced, that before this day is over, I think you could see the indexes turn and possibly go back up to a break even, if not maybe a tiny bit to the upside. Here's the reason I feel that way. Here's the reason I think that's the case. These markets are down this morning primarily on the tough trade talk. Trump escalates trade battles. Last night, after the markets were closed, and I believe the NASDAQ and the S&P finished at record-breaking levels yesterday. But after that, President Trump made an announcement about tariff on Canada going to 35% because Canada is not helping enough or doing enough with the fentanyl crisis at the border there. He's previously said that there would be an across-the-board 10% tariff on just about every country in the world, that was just going to be a regular thing. He sort of upped the ante on that and said, 15 to 20% tariff for everybody. Of course, people get nervous about that, and that's primarily, more than anything else, that's what's got the markets moving to the downside this morning. The reason I think you could see a turn, and I don't know for sure, I don't have any special insight, that all three indexes are already off the session lows a little bit, especially the NASDAQ. I think the NASDAQ started the day down more than 150 points and has come up. I'm going to take a look at the intraday chart, just this one-day chart that just gives us a little glimpse. Yeah, you can see the NASDAQ dipped way down and is quite a ways back from how far down it was. The Dow was down over 300 points at one time, and now it's only down 200 and some change, although it's hasn't made quite as big a dramatic bounce as the NASDAQ has. But the reason I think they could possibly rebound during the day and go back to maybe a break even, if not possibly a slightly positive mode, is that you've got more and more, I think, these initial reactions on tariff information have been proven over and over and over again to be somewhat overblown. They tend to get kind of overhyped, so to speak. The reactions are becoming, in my opinion, less exaggerated each and every month that we have these, or each time we have these announcements on tariffs. I think the reaction becomes a little bit more muted than it was the time before, but you're still going to get a reaction. You're still going to have that initial reaction, and it's, I think that's what we're getting right now today, is just this initial reaction to the news. Because time after time it seems to be proven that the fear of what's going to happen with the tariffs doesn't play out the way people think. It goes away quickly. This initial reaction, this initial fear kind of dissipates very, very quickly, and that's why I think you could see a turnaround. Now, I might be wrong. If things continue exactly the way they're going, what's going to happen is my earlier prediction from Monday and Tuesday is going to prove to be right, that after that initial drop we had on Monday, that things would be kind of flat. And you can see that we had a little bit of a down day on Tuesday, up on Wednesday and Thursday, and back down again on Friday. And that does make things kind of flat. So, it on the one hand, if the market stayed down and finished down around where they're at right now, then I can pat myself on the back and say, oh, my prediction from early in the week was exactly right. I would rather have the markets be up and say at the end of the day, oh, I was wrong. The markets actually did pretty good after that initial sell-off at the beginning of the week. That would be my preference, is to be in that camp. So that's kind of where we find ourselves on a Friday morning, is just a down market, primarily because of this talk of more tariff stuff. Now, as far as the trades that we have open, on our spread trades, we're overall in pretty good shape. Coreweave took a big hit yesterday, and I believe it's taking another hit today, not nearly as big so far. And because maybe it is taking just as big a hit. I didn't realize it was down another $8 today. We're going to have to make an adjustment to Coreweave. This triple crossover yesterday was a huge down day. Today is dragging down farther. My only little glimmer of hope on Coreweave is that the volume was not massive yesterday. It was big volume, but not massive volume. Not like some of these volume days back here. Big enough volume to be concerned about. And we will make an adjustment to Coreweave. We're going to have to roll short calls. I'm hoping that right here around this 130 mark, which is right where it's trading now, 130.24, and it looks like the lowest it's gotten today, briefly, to 128.61. If 130 holds a support, Coreweave could get a little bounce there and come back up, and this could end up a week from now looking like a little bit of a head fake. But I'm not sure we can take that chance because it's a longer term trade. One of the things that affords us is that we can add a bear put spread to it, which doesn't cost a lot of money to protect from any farther movement down, and we can roll short calls down to even help pay for that bear put. And I'm not soured on Coreweave long term. I'm not bothered by the long term effect of Coreweave. NVIDIA was up a little bit today. I don't know if they still are or not. It looks like NVIDIA is up about $1.77. Palantir is up a little bit today. So our other open trades are actually looking pretty good. And Amazon, after taking a hit yesterday, let me see where we're at on Amazon. After taking a little bit of a hit yesterday, Amazon's up a couple dollars today. So all in all, other than Coreweave, we're looking really good. But CrowdStrike is the other trade that is not looking so well. I can't forget CrowdStrike took a massive hit yesterday. But here's the difference between CrowdStrike and Coreweave. CrowdStrike took a major hit. It's up a tiny bit today. But even with that major hit, it hasn't really changed this trend line right here. Now, it could, because this is very close to negative on the RSI. It's very close to a crossover on the 5 and 20-day moving average. I think the move down on CrowdStrike yesterday was a very exaggerated, very overblown move. But there were a couple of places that downgraded CrowdStrike to a hold or to neutral from what was previously a strong buy. So that being the case, we've got to watch CrowdStrike really closely to see if there's a possibility we might need to make an adjustment there. Coreweave, I'll send out an adjustment today, but a lot of people aren't going to see it until the markets close tonight and not going to be able to make that adjustment until Monday morning when the markets open. So it's unfortunate that that's the position we're in, but that's just what we're going to have to do. I'll send the adjustment out during the day today so that those who can follow and make the adjustment today will do so. But a lot of people aren't going to be able to make the adjustment until Monday. So that's where we're at with our spread trades. No adjustment on CrowdStrike today. They before the day is over, I don't know that CrowdStrike won't be back up above 490. So, which is the level of support that I've really been watching closely for CrowdStrike. On the triple play side of things, I sent out an adjustment just on Discord a few minutes ago for CrowdStrike, and basically moved CrowdStrike. I just rolled the trade out 1 week. Same strike prices, same expiration date, same strike prices, expiration next week Friday instead of this week Friday. And I only had to pay 15 cents a share to do it. So what it does, it takes it off of my plate as far as having to watch it all day long today. As soon as I am done with this podcast, I'm going to do the same thing with AMD, but with a little twist. With AMD, I'm still bullish on this company. They're down a little bit more today. AMD actually had an up day yesterday in the midst of CrowdStrike and Coreweave being such ugly down days. AMD was up a little bit. I'm more bullish than bearish on AMD going into the next week. So what I'm going to do with AMD on the triple play trade, and I'll send all this out on Discord and then I'll send it in an email after that. I'm going to, on the put side of it, roll this 135 put. I'm going to roll it straight up probably to a 141 or a 142 put and leave it in today's expiration. And then I'm going to take the call side of the trade, the 140, 146, and I'm going to roll those straight out in time 1 week. So those will go from the 11th to the 18th, but be at the same strike prices. I'm going to get rid of the put side basically and just roll this 135 put up to probably a 141 or a 142. And then we will have to watch AMD through the rest of the day to make sure it doesn't slip to where it would get down, below that 142 mark. So that's the plan with AMD. So on the triple play side, if you haven't already, do the CrowdStrike roll. Mine are out in my CrowdStrike position is now out in 418 instead of 411, or sorry 718 instead of 711 for the expiration. So I don't have to watch that one all day. I'm at the same strike prices, and AMD will be adjusted that way very shortly. In fact, I'm going to look at something with AMD right now. If I take the call side of AMD, I'm sorry this is not on your screen. If I take the call side of AMD and I roll it straight out, it's only going to cost me 5 to 10 cents a share. That's not bad at all. Then if I take the put side of AMD, and I'll put all this on Discord as soon as we're done. If I take the put side of AMD, if I take that 135 put and I roll it, leave it in today's expiration, roll it straight up to, I'm going to go to 142. I'm going to pick up about 35 cents credit in doing that, more than offsetting the debit that I'll pay for the rollout of the call side of it. And then I think that call side will get profitable for us next week. So that's going to be the adjustment to the AMD trade. And then hopefully AMD doesn't have a hard time holding above 142 today. We'll have to watch that, and we'll have to bail out of it if we get too close to 142 today. If the price gets too close to 142, you just need to close the put side of it. Don't wait for me to send something, just close it out. So that will be a fairly easy adjustment. In fact, I'm making that adjustment right now at this moment in time. I'm going to try and get a credit. I'm going to try and get a credit of at least 32 cents. The mid just jumped to 31. It was up at 34, 35. Now it's 29. Come on, I want that mid price to be a little better than that. I'm going to try and get 30 cents per share credit. I'm going to send mine right now. Oh, it's telling me the order can't be placed for some reason. I'll have to see what Schwab is doing. I've had issues with Schwab today. I don't know if anybody else has. Had some issues with Schwab. Schwab has their Thinkorswim platform will not open for me. I'm on their older platform, which I don't like as much. Oh, this is not doing it for me because I didn't cancel my other order that was just to close the entire position. That's why. Okay, I figured it out already. All right. So I'm going to make those adjustments. I'll send those out on Discord right away. And I'm going to wrap up right there for the day. I don't have anything else to talk about once we get these positions that are expiring today taken care of. And again, I'm not long term. I'm not worried about Coreweave, but we will adjust Coreweave since they've crossed over technically. They're back up a little bit from their low of the day, but I don't see Coreweave turning into positive territory today the way I do CrowdStrike. So you can see CrowdStrike's up $1 now. So I hope we don't get to the end of the day and have CrowdStrike trading over 490, because then we'll say, why did we adjust it out? But I just don't want the stress of having to watch it till the end of the market. All right. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. I'm going to wrap up right there. I will be close to the computer and watching the markets all day. And hopefully we do end today on a somewhat positive note. We'll see. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye-bye.